God bless America. Hello, everybody. I am the Talk Radio Protege. This is the Protege program. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you all are looking forward to the weekend. I know that I am. And, let's get right into it. So, yesterday, the big news story was Rudy Giuliani in an interview a couple of nights ago on Fox News apparently confessed for President Trump to the crime of falsely reporting his election finances. And the reason for this is going to be outlined in this Daily Mail article. So let's get right into it. First of all, please do not do what I think you're about to do. Well, we just lost the Daily Mail article, ladies and gentlemen. Let me put it this way. The first thing that I didn't like about the Daily Mail article was that it characterized Kellyanne Conway's husband as close to the inner circle of the president. And that's not exactly a fair characterization of Mr. Conway. You see, Mr. Conway is a Democrat. He is not a fan of the president in any way that, as far as I understand, and I don't think it's fair to characterize Conway as being close to the inner circle whatsoever. The other thing that the story pointed out, I think is going to be covered in these other stories that or other columns that we're going to look at. Now, what Giuliani said to Fox News was that President Trump contributed the $130,000 payoff to Stormy Daniels that Cohn had paid. In the past, or over the past month, the way it was understood was that Cohn paid off Stormy Daniels for her to keep silent out of his own pocket, and the president was never involved in that transaction whatsoever, in any way, shape, or form. It's why the president's signature isn't on the hush order that Daniels has been ignoring for the past month. It's why, for the most part, a lot of people were thinking that we weren't going to be able to get Trump on this. But what Giuliani said is that President Donald Trump reimbursed his personal attorney, Michal Cohn, $130,000 that Cohn paid to adult film actress Stormy Daniels days before the 2016 election in exchange for her silence about a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006. Now, what that sounds like is that Cohn paid Daniels off, and then he went to Trump and said, I did this with $130,000, and Trump said, here's a check. Now, that is bad because Trump didn't report writing a $130,000 check to Cohn for the purpose of that payoff. And what everybody's assuming in saying that's wrong is they're assuming that the payoff was made because of the political ramifications of the revelation, which it could be that Cohn did that. It could also be, as Giuliani has claimed, that Cohn made the payment on behalf of Trump for the sake of protecting Trump's marriage, not for the sake of the election. I think that Giuliani is quoted in this column as saying that. Perhaps it might not actually be here. Maybe it's this source that says it. Whatever the case, what's been established at this point in time, if I understand correctly, is that Cohn would regularly report expenses to Donald Trump. And he would say, I incurred these expenses this month for which I need reimbursement. And the president would reimburse Cohn. Now, the way I understand it played out is Cohn received at maximum $53,000 a month, and it was on a reimbursable basis. If Cohn didn't incur any expenses in a month, he wouldn't receive $53,000. If he did, then he would. and the $53,000 payments would continue to roll in until the incurred expenses were covered. So obviously $130,000 would receive 3 payments under this scheme across 3 months, if that's the truth of the matter. Now, if that's the truth of the matter, that Cohn wasn't reporting the nature of the expenses to the president, then I'm not sure if I understand the campaign finance law fully, but it could be that Trump did not know he was paying for something that was related to the campaign, which would be why he didn't report it. There's also the matter of innocent until proven guilty. I kind of want to do a full video just on this topic, but for the purposes of this video, suffice it to say that the prosecution in this case, whoever that may be, probably the DOJ, would have to prove that one of a few things. First of all, they would have to prove that Cohn made the payment to Daniels for the purpose of protecting the president's electoral outlook, which I think would be very difficult to prove. As long as Cohn would maintain that he paid Daniels on behalf of Trump for the sake of his marriage, I'm not sure what evidence could come out that would reveal that to not be true, which must be the case in a criminal prosecution. It's innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent. Another thing they would have to prove is that Trump knew what the payment was about, and that Trump knew what the political ramifications were, and that he thought of that repayment to Cohn as a campaign expense. If it's not a campaign expense, then it has nothing to do with campaign finance law. If Trump didn't think of it as campaign money, or he didn't think of the revelation in terms of his campaign, then I don't see how you can say that the payment was campaign related. If Trump didn't know about the nature of the expenses that Cohn had incurred, then I don't see how you could say that he thought of it as campaign money and therefore made a campaign payment. Now, I wanted to go to this from the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's website, this column authored by Ben Shapiro, and I wanted to present to you a couple of thoughts that he offers. First of all, he says there are 2 campaign finance issues that the Stormy Daniels payment implicates. Either in-kind contributions, which is basically you do something for a candidate for the sake of the campaign and don't receive payment for it. It's called an in-kind contribution. The YouTubers Diamond and Silk did a sort of campaign appearance in the satellite of the Trump campaign and incurred expenses as part of that appearance and were reimbursed by the Trump campaign. And people have been calling this campaign finance law violations, even though if he hadn't paid them or reimbursed them for the appearance, they could have got him on in-kind contribution violation of the campaign finance law. The other part of it is the campaign reporting. If this was a payment for a campaign-related issue, then the expense had to be reported to the FEC, which it was not, the Federal Election Commission. We already know it was not reported to the FEC. A lot of people on the left have gone to great lengths to tell us that this was not reported to the FEC. And that just, I think, to me, demonstrates that Trump did not think of the payments to Michal Cohn as campaign related. He was paying a personal lawyer to do stuff for his personal life that was not related to the campaign. Now, when somebody like Trump starts running for elections, a lot of personal things get mixed in with campaign things. Things that are personally embarrassing are simultaneously electorally embarrassing I realize that, but I disagree a little bit with Shapiro on this issue. I want to scroll down to this paragraph. Politically, the above doesn't mean much for Trump either. Everyone with half a brain assumed Trump was lying when he said he didn't pay off Daniels. Now, how do you say that Trump lied when he said he didn't pay off Daniels if Trump didn't know what the payments to Cohn were about? If Trump didn't know that money going to Michal Cohn was reimbursing a payment that was made, a hush payment that was made to someone for the sake of an embarrassing story about about Trump, how can you say that that was a lie? That's a lie if the definition of lying is stating something false. Period. If I were to say to you, I am recording this video on an Apple product, that would be a false statement. Now, it's a lie if there's two ways in which the statement, I'm recording this video on an Apple device, is a lie. Number one, if I am telling you this with the intent to deceive you, I don't think there's any debate about those statements being a lie. If I make a false statement for the purpose of deceiving another person, there's no doubt in my mind that that's a lie. What I do question is whether the statement of a falsehood in and of itself is a lie. Because if I say it's 75 degrees outside, and I don't know for a fact that it's 75 degrees, but it feels like 75 degrees, I think it's 75 degrees, I think that I'm saying the truth, but it's false. Does that make it a lie? The president said that he didn't pay off Stormy Daniels. He didn't directly pay off Stormy Daniels. We know that's a fact. We know that dollars that belonged to Trump ended up in the bank account, of Stormy Daniels. So, technically, Trump did pay off Stormy Daniels. But if he didn't know he paid off Stormy Daniels, is it a lie for him to say that he didn't? Is he telling a falsehood with intent to deceive and that means he's lying? Or is he stating something false and that means he's lying? It's a philosophical question that I don't have all the answers to. It's a philosophical question that comes up for Christianity. And for that reason, I struggle with this as a question, because there's a lot of words in the Christian Bible from the original text that don't mean the same thing that we mean when we say them today. So, in terms of the morally relativistic society we live in today, is it fair to say that Trump lied when he said he didn't pay off Stormy Daniels? If we live in the morally absolute society, and the biblical definition of lying is the correct one, then did President Trump lie when he said he didn't pay off Stormy Daniels? Those are questions that I don't have the answers to right now. I would love to hear your thoughts on this issue. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you want to see more content like it, hit subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Make sure you come back for a bonus video tomorrow morning. I'm planning on, this video is going up Friday morning. I'm going to be monitoring the news today as usual, and I'm planning on putting up a video Saturday morning. So enjoy the rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Come back next time. Until then, have a great weekend and God bless.